My name is Rolando Bini. I'm a Latino immigrant living 42 years in New York City, so I'm a New Yorker. I have two children, two boys born here in New York State, and I formed my organization, Parents in Action for Leadership and Human Rights, 14 years ago as an encounter with the so-called Child Protective Services Agency. The public school where my son was going at 7 years old wanted to put my son into special needs classes, claiming that he had attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and of course I oppose it. So they call ACS, which is our local CPS agency, which is supposed to protect our children, but is the children's worst nightmare. And basically they took him away from the public school, and I had to fight for 5.5 months to finally get him back. They claim they withdrew the petition, and basically they returned my child with no conditions. But I discovered a world that I couldn't know existed. It's my worst nightmare. And they work with the psychiatrists, the psychologists, the social workers. It's all a scheme. Child Protective Services is the worst nightmare for any child. Family court is an institutionalized system of injustice that functions under color of law, that cooperates with the psychiatrists, with the psychologists, with the social workers. It's all a scheme. In family court in New York City, parents have a chance of winning again in family court about 2 cases out of every 1,000. It means they are found guilty 998 times out of 1,000. That's totally unacceptable. It's a kangaroo court. And the role of the psychiatrist is very important. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that Lauren invited me, because basically it is psychiatry is one of the plagues that is hurting humanity. They are a problem for the well-being, the mental health of humanity. Everything they say is totally false, fake. They want to promote that we are animals, not human beings, that we don't have a soul. Maybe psychiatrists don't have a soul, but we have a soul, and we are human. We have a mission on this planet. Now, the interesting thing is how they team between the public schools, which is public schools in New York City is an institution that dumb down the masses to serve their masters. But also there is a small percentage of children who are I call them the national leaders, the rebels, the bright rebels, and those are our national leaders, and those are the ones they want to put into special need classes to be properly chemically lobotomized. And if the parents refuse, they call the so-called Child Protective Services and kidnap these children and destroy them. Those are our leaders. We need to work. The case of Justina is just one of the many cases, and I think we need to fight for her because it's a travesty of justice. They are going to bring us to the middle age, and this is not an accident. This is social engineers. These criminals, psychiatrists have infiltrated the public school system, which has nothing to do with education, but rather is a conditioning mechanism, like you condition a dog, but our children are not dogs. The social workers is another part of the scheme. The family court is part of the scheme. The prosecutors and the judges, most judges are former prosecutors. It's all a scheme. So you have nowhere to go because all the courts are totally corrupt, and the psychiatrists, where the negative influence have infiltrated the system, and they are bringing us to slavery. If we don't fight it back and we don't put these criminals where they belong, all of them should be rounded up and given life in prison with forced labor in the coldest places of Alaska. So keep doing what you're doing. This is our fight for our children and for future generations. Our agency provides services to the parents, parenting skills, anger management, counseling, and all that nonsense that they don't really need, but we empower them and telling them how the system works. And basically, most of the children these days finish high school, if they finish, and they don't have a clue. They are not prepared for anything in life. They have no knowledge. They are experts on the private life of the so-called stars and celebrities, but they have no tools to survive. But they demand expensive shoes, expensive clothes, and expensive electronic toys from the parents. And if the parents don't give them, they are even curse them and beat them up. And the police and the so-called protective services and the school is on the side of the children instead of the parents. Parents have no power to educate their children anymore. They are preparing for failure. They are preparing our children for the prison industry, from the mental ill industry, and from the homeless industry. Yes, we are living souls. We are not animals. God bless you and keep the fight.
Thank you.